Hi, I'm Gabe Eltaeb, your host with my great co-host Jericho Green. Welcome to the second episode of Daditude. I called it Dadsplaining in the first episode, and then I looked online. I probably should have done this before the show. It turns out there was another podcast already called Dadsplaining. So for now, it's Daditude. How you doing today, Jericho?
Chilling, man. I'm glad to be here with a fellow father and talk about the things that we're passionate about.
That's right. What are you passionate about as a father, husband? What is your joy? What it brings you the most joy?
I'm passionate about setting them up for a good life. I'm passionate about making them good people, trying not to damage them too much. And I love being around my kids. I love spending time with them, minus the arguing. That's what my kids are getting into now.
Ooh,
arguing
are they middle school yet, or?
My daughter's middle school, my son's second grade. But he's learned how to go back and forth with his sister. He's learned how to piss her off. Ooh. So now it's don't look at me. Why are you stop chewing so loud? I didn't do anything. Oh, but you
are you gonna have to do
all of that?
An 80s sitcom where you put tape down the middle of the house and you stay on your side and you stay on your side.
Yeah. Or I'll get a big T-shirt and make them both wear it together. I'm getting there.
I was at Party City the other day buying my costume. I bought some costume jewelry so I could be Tyrus for Halloween, as you know, and that's my fake ass gold chain. And I saw a couple huge costumes of different varieties for like a boyfriend and girlfriend to wear together, and I thought that looked like 3 hours of hell. Can you imagine being at a party with your wife or girlfriend or both? No, you shouldn't have both, or at least you should never bring both to the same party.
Yeah.
Wow. But I would not want to be in a costume with another person. Would you want to do that?
No, man. That conjures images of like the horse costume or something.
Right.
No, I don't want to do that. No way. Even if you agreed to do it together, you don't want to actually be together the whole night. Like, come on. Right. No, that sounds like some stupid idea you do in your 20s, and halfway through the night you'd have a horse's head and then a horse's ass walking around separately because they're
Yeah, I saw them and they were literally like, I think they're like zippered together and stuff. It was awful.
No,
it was awful.
But I do remember a combo costume in that movie, Higher Learning, where it was a black guy and a white chick, and she was salt and he was pepper. That was pretty funny.
Well, there you go. I thought you were going to say something horrible, so we'll leave it at that.
That's the only funny part about that movie.
Okay. I remember in college, a guy and a girl, one was an outlet and one was a plug.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's borderline. Could be G-rated, but you know what's up. They'll be plugging up later. That's for sure.
The guy was wearing the plug. It was weird. No, just kidding. But anyway, so for today's show, for today's topic, everything, there's a clip that was going viral in the last week or two of a young lady, and she's just graduated college. She's under 25, I believe, and she's crying because she's dealing with the adult life, the 9 to 5. She can't live near her job because it's too expensive, so she has to commute like 2 hours before work. Basically, I think she says she's gone from like 6 or 7 in the morning till 6 or 7 at night. And she's freaking out, crying, because this is not what she was promised when she grew up in this feminist culture of women are goddesses and they can do no wrong and everything's going to be perfect and she's going to be pampered. I would like to know like what the fantasy is in these millennial Zoomer girls' heads when they're in high school and college, of what they think the adult world is going to be like when they get to that office at Google or whatever. You know, they think they're going to walk in and I don't know, there's going to be like a smoothie bar, and then there's going to be a playroom with puppies, and then they're going to go to a meeting and tell everyone to F off, and then they're going to go do some yoga, and then have a catered lunch, and then I guess go home. I think that's what the day would be.
They think it's going to be like the beginning of Legally Blonde. They think they're just going to walk in there like, good morning, hold my calls, you know, all that kind of stuff. And no, it's not like that. Now, it might be like that after you put in some years, you know, after you've, you know, moved up to your own office and something like that. Then, yeah, it might be a little bit like that. But even the most glamorous job, whatever that is, you got to start out at the bottom. And the bottom, though, funny.
Yeah, from the bottom. Started from the bottom. Now we hear. I'm gonna play the clip. First of all, I don't know this girl's name. I didn't catch it, but I would like to welcome her. Maybe not to the Republican Party, but I would like to welcome her to two places that intersect: conservatism and reality. She's now here. She took the long way, but you know, she's here now. So let's play the clip, and then I want to get your reaction to this. Okay, let me add her in here. Not full screen. Come on, Gabe. Get better than this. Here we go. There's about a minute and a half, and then you let me know if you were going to dad her up, you're going to coach her up. React to it after you see this.
I know I'm probably just being so dramatic and annoying, but this is my first job, like my first 9-to-5 job after college, and I'm in person, and I'm commuting in the city, and it takes me fucking forever to get there. There's no way I'm gonna be able to afford living in the city right now, so that's off the table. Like, fucking duh! If I was able to walk to work, and it'd be fine, but I'm not. So it literally takes me, like, I leave here, like, I get on the train at 7:30, and I don't get home till, like, 6:15 earliest, and then, like, I don't have time to do anything. I want to shower, eat my dinner, and go to sleep. I don't have time or energy to cook my dinner either. Like, I don't have energy to work out. Like, that's out the window. Like, I'm so upset. Oh my God. Nothing to do with my job at all, but just, like, the 9-to-5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9 to 5, like, if it was remote, you get off at 5 and you're home and everything's fine. But, like, I'm not home. It takes me long to get home, and, like people that drive to the office, like, you don't get off at 5, and I know it could be worse. I know I could be working longer, but, like, I literally get off, it's pitch black, like, I don't have energy. How do you have friends? Like, how do you have time to, like, meet, like, a guy? I don't know. Like, how do you have time for, like, dating? Like, I don't have time for anything, and I'm, like, so stressed out, and I'm also getting my period, so that's why I'm all emotional. But, like, am I so dramatic? It's fine.
Gross.
little TMI there at the end.
Gross. Well, one of the very first things she said was, and it really cuts me deep, and I hate it. I hate that this is ingrained in the youth of a certain age group, or those who are young during the lockdowns. But she said it's in person, because she's coming from that Zoom life, and I just hate she said that just so matter of fact, and that's just a part of the way things were, and we just accept it. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that really caught me when she said it's in person. Like, that I remember that time. But there is a way that she can have that feminist dream that they were sold. There's a way to get it. There's a way to be pampered and be treated like a princess. Now, it might not be on the Hollywood level, or you might not find a millionaire, but there's this thing called getting married. What? And when you're a house, let me finish, Kate. Let me finish.
Jericho, you have
it's
to go
crazy.
to college, get a career, work your way to the top, become a millionaire, buy all kinds of houses, and become super wealthy. Then you're ready to get married and have kids, right?
No. I told you when we agreed to do this show, I was going to say some crazy shit. So here it is.
Oh my gosh.
She could get married.
What?
And then a stay-at-home mother or wife at first, and then stay-at-home mother. And here's the craziest part. You thought that was crazy. That was just the tip.
I thought it was insane.
Here's the shaft. Okay.
Ooh.
Your husband will gladly go out in the world and provide for you. All you have to do is lean it. The kids say lean into it. So lean into that whole woman thing you got going on.
What?
And make a home, and he will whistle Dixie out of the house every morning to provide that life for you.
Right. But what if I have to live in Manhattan like that TV show I love, Jericho? and we need
It
to.
can be done. It can be done if you want to build your husband. If you want to build something up to that level where you're in Manhattan and you got a doorman and you step out on the Fifth Avenue, sure, that could be done. But that's the route you have to take. If you take her route, you'll get there. But by the time you get there, your eggs will be turned to dust, and you'll be all sad and you'll smell like cat piss.
Poor thing. You know, I was telling you before the show, I see a lot of conservatives dunking on her. And while it is sadistically amusing because it's kind of like, we told you so, I do think, yeah, as men who are family focused, fathers, husbands, it is sad to see. Imagine if that was your little girl having a meltdown like that, crying like that, just about having a job because you sold that bill of goods of go to America hating liberal university, learn to hate your father and your culture, then go slave away in some office and just do a poor impersonation of a man. Men like working mindlessly. I was telling you before the show, my brother and I had a term for it forever called donkey mode. Where you're just chopping logs for 8 hours, you're just digging a ditch or anything, your corporate job. What I do, drawing and coloring and writing and all that, I can do it all day and I feel fun, but it tortures women. You know, when it tortures women to work that way, not the women aren't hard workers. You try. How much, okay, let's be honest as fathers, how much do you like cooking and cleaning and changing diapers and doing the traditional women's housework? I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Do you enjoy it or?
I don't hate it. I like to cook.
I like to cook.
I'm a very good cook. I don't like to clean, but I'm very good at it. And I like things a certain way, but I don't mind it. But my wife, you know, especially the motherly end of it, she loves it. She loves being with the kids. She loves talking with them and asking them about their day and, you know, pulling little pieces of information out of them without them even knowing. I think women are, but that's all into that's under the umbrella of making a home, you know. And when a man comes home to a good woman, that's a recharge. You don't even know it. You're recharging his batteries. He's been in battle all day, and he can come home to a wife that loves him, some order, maybe some food, a clean house. You know, all of those things are under, like I said, under the umbrella of making a home. And when your man comes home to that, man, but when he wakes up in the morning, his battery's back at 100%. He's ready to go, you know, because you've given him that peace. That's the main thing that a man wants from his woman is peace.
I think when it comes to understanding of the world around us as human beings, the way we discover the scientific method is through testing and results. So when you do anything 1,000, 1,000,000, you know, 1,000,000,000 times, you won't have absolute truth, but you'll have a very good idea of what is true. And I think through the millennia, human beings have found what I believe is God's design of man and woman working together hand in hand, equal but completely mirror images of each other. And we complement each other perfectly. That family unit of man as hunter, warrior, provider, protector, and woman as the homemaker, the shield maiden, all that stuff. The guy goes out and fights and bleeds and all that. And the woman patches him up and feeds him up, and it works together. He makes that home possible where she has all the food and the medicine and everything he needs and she needs. He makes that possible, and she's the one that implements it. And so having said all that we have discovered through thousands and thousands of millions of trial and error through the millennia of humanity, why do you think left-wing, postmodernist, feminist people think they can just rewrite reality in 40 years? They're like, oh, all that stuff, all those millennia, meaningless data. I know better in 30, 40 years of trying. Why do you think they're that way, these people?
Well, I think like many things, you know, let's just imagine yourself holding a handful of balloons. You got 50 balloons in your hand, and they all have strings on them. All of those strings lead back to one thing. It leads back to family. Somebody didn't tell them what was right. Somebody made them think that they are so good that they're in a narcissism. That's a real issue with the left and people like that. Somebody somehow, some way made them think that they're better than everybody. Maybe it was the helicopter parenting and you're great, you're awesome, and you're this. I don't know. But somebody didn't give them a dose of reality. That's not how it works. Why would you want to destroy and stir up something that got you here to this wonderful life that you live with the security and the electricity and infrastructure, all these wonderful things? I think that it's just some need inside of them. Like, like people like crazy liberals who would come up to me and ask me, "Oh, did you see that Tupac documentary last night?" Like there's this burning desire inside of them to let me know that they're down. Just like there's a burning desire inside of these people to let everybody know. I got a little pin right here to let people know how awesome they are and how awesome they think they are. But I think
Jericho, did you watch the BET Awards last night? Pretty cool, right?
DVR'd it. I didn't miss a minute. But I think that it's almost like a teenage girl. Like they want drama. Our life is so good and we have no natural predators and everything's so great that they just want to stir up some drama. So let's go after this thing that is so wonderful that gives you the ability to act out these stupid ideas. This thing you want to tear down allows you the space to even act on something so stupid. There are places around the world where if you opened your mouth in public, a leather sandal is coming flying at your face. So I think that's what it is.
What place would that happen?
Oh, let's see. There's this area of the world where there's lots of sand.
Would it be east of here, but not all the way east of here, like somewhere in the middle?
Yeah, I would say, like you say, not far east, but maybe middle east.
Okay. Like the middle of the eastern part. Okay, I got that.
Middle East. I think it's known as the Middle East. But yeah, they don't, up until this day, I'm not talking 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Today, 2023, if you open your mouth in the wrong part of the world, you will be handled in a physical manner. And guess what? Nobody will care.
You've been married. I've been married 27 years, any day now. You've been married, what, 15, 20 years?
15 years. Yeah.
Okay.
But I've been with my wife almost 20 years.
Okay. And, we can transition into that. People fearing having the same old over and over. But I wanted to bring something up because you were saying they were like teenage girls that just wanted drama. And I agree with you. There's a great author, Dr. Robert Glover. He wrote a New York Times best-selling book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And it was all about the beta male, white knight, friend zone, loser, like kind of guys of the last 30, 40 years because they're raised by single mothers. And they think, if I just kiss women's butts, then I'll get laid and I'll get dates and women. And it never works. They just get friend zoned and they don't understand why. And he talked about an epiphany he had running on the beach in like Costa Rica somewhere, that women need tension. They need drama. And in a relationship, it's your job to create it. But he calls it positive emotional tension, where you tease and all this stuff. And, in the kitchen, you give your wife a spanking or something when she bends down to pick something up. It's like you're teasing them, but it's all fun and it's all in love. It's tension, though, and women crave drama and tension. And he said, if you don't give women positive emotional tension, they will create negative emotional tension. I believe this is true. After I read it in his book, I was like, holy cow, this guy is right. Have you found this to be your experience too with women?
Yeah, definitely. For sure. They need something. Like you said, in a positive way, that's great. But they want that attention. They want to know that they're wanted. They want to know that in some way the chase is still on. And
and not like shaking their butt, like, don't chase me.
And it's not like as a husband, you should do it because it's what your wife wants you to do. You should do it because that's what you want too. Like if your wife bends over to pick something up, and if that hand doesn't start shaking,
it goes on its own. It just goes on its own, man.
Yeah, like that's all you got to do.
Right. And for you youngins out there, they're newly married or whatever, when you do it, you leave the hand in the cheek for a second, and then you take it off.
Or even, the grab, get a handful.
The squeeze, the smack, the squeeze.
Treat it like a candy bowl on Halloween. You get a handful of those goodies. And then you just walk away. Keep it moving.
Right.
That's it. How long does it take to smack and grab some ass?
That's right.
Not that long. And keep going. Keep going about your business. But you've just sent a clear message to your woman. He still wants me. He still finds me attractive. And later on, when these little tax breaks go to bed, it's on.
Yeah. You're damn right. So that's a perfect segue, a perfect transition to something you mentioned to me after the recording we did the other day. A lot of guys don't want to settle down, have one girlfriend, let alone one wife. because they're afraid of having the same old woman for the rest of their life. And you wanted to talk about this, so I'll let you take the floor, expand on that, talk about it.
Yeah, it's something I've heard, from buddies of mine, and it's something that I thought about briefly. I definitely didn't get hung up on that, but it's
Right.
it's a concern. You're out here, you're a man. We know what we like, and we like a lot of it. But it's not like if you marry the woman in your life that you're going to get tired of it. It's like Groundhog's Day. Every day you wake up, you still love it. It's wonderful, and there's nothing different out there. It's not like
Right.
there's some girl out there with this golden vagina, like when they open the briefcase in Pulp Fiction.
Whoa, it's like shining in your face.
There's nothing better out there. It's all great. You
Right.
got one, so lock it down. It's live in. How many of your buddies who are single got to gear up every Friday and Saturday and start
Oof.
from scratch?
Right.
They got to meet a new girl. They don't know her level of crazy. They don't know
Right.
anything about her family, her past. Ugh, that has to get so boring. And I feel for them.
Right.
But if you think, oh man, you're sleeping with the same woman forever, man, you're out of your mind. That is wonderful.
Nothing better.
I'm nothing better. And it's not like one day you're gonna wake up and go, no. It's still vagina. It's wonderful. It does not change. And if you're doing things right, that's how it's gonna be. I know people who are, oh man, my wife and I, we haven't had sex in weeks or months. I'm like, man, you're out of your mind. That's part of the
They're
four
just
food
buddies.
groups.
They're just buddies
No.
at the house.
Yeah, you're just roommates. No, hell no. Then you're just living with a roommate who could take half your stuff if you moved out. That's all
Right.
that is.
Not a good
No.
strategy. Not a good
That
strategy.
you're doing it wrong. You should always have a lust for your wife if you're doing things right. And don't let days and weeks go by because you're going to grow distant. Then you are really going to be like
And then
roommates.
resentful. And then
Yeah,
resentful.
no, man, you fix that. Whatever is stopping that from happening, you fix it, because sex is indicative of a healthy relationship. Because with women, their feelings have to be in it, even if it's your wife, for them to want to have sex. So if if you're always having sex, that means they're feeling great. They're loving the life that you've provided for them. It's all good. But this men who don't have sex with their wife, if there's no medical reason, bruh, you need to fix it. You guys need to sit down and have a little powwow and work that shit out, because it's great. And if you're doing things right, your love for it will never change and never diminish.
Right. I mean, you're building a family together for years. And of course you're going to be passionate about it, and still passionate for her because of what she means to you. Because what you said, Jericho, it isn't different. Sex with other women, it's I'm sorry, it's just not different. There isn't a magical one out there. I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. Unless there was one that could also make pancakes on its own too, So
Like a little griddle in there.
It's got a little griddle on the side,
Where is it plugged in? What's the power source?
I don't know how it works.
I'm not asking.
I don't want to know. But yeah, I do think there's a lot of that foolishness with guys. And what do you think of this? Because this is a thought I've had, and I don't know if it's right. It's just a theory I have. I think the whole concept of a guy slaying all these women, and you know what I mean, getting 100 notches on the bedpost, I think that's a bit of low self-esteem narcissism, that he has to go out into the world and get external validation of like, hey everyone, I got these hot chicks, I got them. Like, I mean, obviously we want women, we like women, but I think to have to go through with it and make it like a central part of your personality, I think there's a little bit of low self-esteem there. What do you think? I'm onto something there or not? I don't have proof. It's just a theory I have about this.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something lacking, low self-esteem. They're definitely missing something, because, it may sound, some people might think it sounds weak or something for a man to say that, but yeah, we want a partner too. We don't want to be lonely. And yeah, you're banging all these chicks, but what happens when they go home?
Right. And you're just
eventually
your hungry man Salisbury steak.
Yeah, you're going to want more. Eventually, you're going to want more. You're going to want to leave this to somebody. You're going to want to create some things. And it's great. Not only is your wife, providing that wonderful regime, but that's your partner. That's the person you can trust. That's who you can build with. That's who will prop you up when you're out there trying to build something in the world. So yeah, man, at a certain point, when you're young like that, that's one thing. But when you become an adult, you got to put that shit away and you got to start looking for more.
Well, yeah, the desire never goes away. I think it was, I don't know if it was a comic book or somewhere, but it was a guy like, hey, you're married. Why are you looking at this chick and saying she's hot? He's like, I'm married. I'm not dead. So what Jericho and I believe, I don't want to speak for you, but what I think we're both saying is, yes, we're aware there's gorgeous, hot women out there and we still see them and are still very attracted. Obviously, that's wired in. That's not my choice. But the difference being a man, for you men out there, you got to learn something from me and Jericho, is the concept of emotional regulation. It doesn't matter. It matters like how you feel. You're just going to feel how you feel. You're not in charge of that. But what you do with how you feel, you're definitely in charge of that. So if I'm out and I'm very married with this ring on and I see a very hot woman that isn't my wife, fine. I see her. I think she's hot. Moving on. If I see her and I go get her phone number and call her on the sneaks with my burner phone, now I'm in trouble. Now I've done the wrong thing. So that's the difference there. You still think they're hot, but you're like, I'm just going to ignore it anyway. Right?
Yeah. Being a large part of being a man is control. Physically, emotionally, mentally, it's all about control. That's why you don't see guys just walking around beating up kids and old ladies and not that we want to, but we could.
Right.
We could very easily, but it's control. And in situations, you got to control your emotions. You're not allowed to fly off the handle and cry all the time. I don't give a damn. As a man, and I'm not saying to push things down to where one day you give yourself a heart attack at 45 years old. But there's just certain things to control. You can't be crying all the time. You got to hold shit together. In terrible moments in your family, you have to be the rock. You got to hold it together. If you got to take a ride in your car, your truck around the block and cry it out. I've had things happen in life that are, terrible that did make me cry, but I didn't sob in front of everybody. I remember one time I was at work and this dude was crying in the break room.
Fuck out of here.
Dog. If you're a girl crying,
unless like his parent or spouse died,
but he wasn't like in a heap down on one knee like he just got the call. This dude's sitting in the break, and it wasn't that. It wasn't even anything close to that. It was because Trump won the election. That's why.
Listen, dude, if you have any other stories like that, never tell them to me, please. Please, I'm asking you as a friend. Please don't do this. A guy crying because Trump won the election.
Yes, you can't, as a man, you can't do that. You got to take that somewhere else. So being a man is all about control. And when you have a son, just through your actions, that's what you're teaching him. You're teaching him control, how to control your emotions. That's why you have these violent places in America. They are chock full of men who were raised by their mothers and they weren't shown emotional control. Women are allowed to be emotionally out of control. They're allowed to do that. They're allowed to throw a drink in your face and cry all the time at the drop of a hat. They're allowed to do all these crazy things because they're women and they don't have the ability to physically, hurt somebody to a certain extent. Men are bigger and stronger, but we have a large part of our life is control. Even with other men, somebody says something stupid. You can't just haul off and beat the dude's ass. Sometimes you got to consider your surroundings, what's at stake if you do.
Right.
It's all about control, being a man. And that's just another form of control that we have to exercise.
Right. It's emotional regulation. You're going to feel the feeling. You don't have to do what it says. You don't have to. That's okay. You're walking down the street. You see that hot chick that is clearly not your wife. Leave it there. Don't look back. Don't stare. No, maybe she's lost. Maybe she needs directions or something. I'll go.
Remember Eddie Murphy got caught with that Ku Klux trans member, and he said, "Oh, we're just giving her a ride."
Yeah, I bet.
Because we all do that. We all ride around being the benevolent taxi driver. Hey, you streetwalker, let me give you a ride on it.
Remember Pulp Fiction? John Travolta has to give Marcellus Wallace's beautiful wife, Uma Thurman, he has to hang out with her for the night. Then they go back to her place. And he's telling himself, just drink your drink and go home. Because he knows they had a lot of attraction. They were dancing together. But this is the most powerful gangster in town. It's his lady.
He had to weigh the consequences.
Right. He knows if he does something with this lady, he is cooked. So, So that's how it is, guys. Emotional regulation. That is going to be one of the most important. I can't think of something more important that you can do as far as your actions are concerned as a man than to emotionally regulate. you know,
Yeah,
and it's
you
very
have to.
simple. It's hard to do, but the concept is simple to understand. I feel angry, I feel lazy, I feel like being dishonest, I feel like whatever bad thing, but I don't do it. It's okay to feel it. Fine. Feel it, but do the right thing anyway. You know? So yeah, that's so don't be afraid of having the same gal the rest of your life. Because if you find a good woman, like a good wife, she's your thick as thieves partner in crime. She's this awesome woman that lifts you up and makes a great home and helps you achieve your goals and dreams. The Bible says a man that has found a great wife has found a great thing, has found a treasure. And in that verse, it says find. So let's think about what find implies. How do you find something? You search. How do you find gold? How do you find diamonds, right? Very hard to do, but not impossible. Because I hear a lot of guys saying, I want to know your take on this. I hear a lot of people, the millennial, the Zoomer generation, all that, saying they just give up on it. They're MGTOW. They're men going their own way. And they never want to get married. They hate women. They hate family. They hate all this stuff. And they're not going to bother to do the hard work to get the pickaxe out and look for that gold and diamonds because it's not worth it to them. I think that's foolish. What do you think?
I agree, and that will be our downfall. We can't have men running off being selfish. We can't. Again, that's one of your responsibilities, man. You can't run off and set up a commune in the forest and run around barefoot. You can't do that shit. We need you here in the world. We need you building. We need you marrying. We need you having kids. We need you continuing this great country. Sorry.
Well, what if it's scary and I don't want to do it? Do I have to do it then, Jericho?
Well, that's where they have this word, a C word, not that one with 4 letters, but it's
Oh.
called courage because it's scary and you don't want to, but you do it anyway.
Huh. So I can feel one thing and do another?
It's crazy how the mind and the body works.
Man, where would I learn something like this as a child? What parent would teach me ideas like this, Jericho?
I don't know. Maybe the biggest one?
The big one with the beard?
Yeah. The big one with the beard that says what when you ask him stuff. Him.
The one that made me rake the leaves even though I didn't want to.
Exactly.
Thus teaching me, oh, I don't have to be happy all the time. I can just do stuff I'm supposed to do.
Compartmentalize.
Right.
Put that shit away.
I'm into fitness. As you know, I love, I used to run all the time, but I'm 45 now. So I walk, I don't run because it's bad for your knees. You know, I lift weights 4 times a week religiously. But because I got real fat, I was 33, I'm 45 now. I was 320 pounds, didn't have much muscle. Now I'm much thinner, much more muscular. And I started running at 33 because I saw my daughter took a picture of me on Memorial Day, like 2011 or whatever, at the beach. And I looked like a freaking beached whale. I couldn't believe the picture I saw. So that night, I started eating right and exercising. I've never stopped. And I would run like this 2-mile, 2-mile thing around the shopping center near my house. And I had the discipline to run, but I hated it. I was miserable the whole time. I'm like running like, and I like Hulk Hogan in No Holds Barred. I would run around the shopping center every night. I would run, and at lunch I would run. I would do it twice a day. And I had this thought I kept having. I'm like, okay, I can do this, but I hate it. The next level is I got to convince myself I love it and do it. How do I get myself to like this? And I thought about it for a few weeks every time I would run. And eventually I became embarrassed because I realized how stupid and narcissistic my premise was. My premise was I have to like something and enjoy it to do it. And then it clicked in my head, you're never going to like this. Nobody likes running. Everybody hates running. That's the point. Mm-hmm. And the point of being a man is I hate this crap, but I'm doing it anyway. And then I was proud of that. Like, oh, okay. But I was a little embarrassed that I had this selfish idea that I had to love it somehow. If I could convince myself to love running, then it'd be amazing. That doesn't exist. What do you think? Do you think I should have been embarrassed, or do you agree with this concept?
No, for sure. You have to. I remember, I think it was Mike Tyson who said you have to do something that you hate like you love it. He said He hated to run. Look at the shape Mike Tyson was in when he was boxing. He's in great shape now. Jeez. But when he was a boxer, look at the shape he was in. The dude had muscles everywhere, and he hated to do it.
Right.
He hated to run. He hated to work out, but there was that drive in him to keep doing it. And it's not like being a man is like, I got to do all this stuff I don't like. But you have to do it maybe more than anybody else, more than women, more than children, certainly. So that's just the hand you were dealt, and you just have to do it. You have to find a way to talk yourself into it, or maybe not. Maybe just accept it. Maybe just accept that this is going to suck. but I have to do it. And then when you start, like a lot of other things, when you start seeing results, anything you're trying, you're practicing, you're working at, when you start seeing results, that's going to be that motivation. That's going to be that, okay, now it's going to get easier to do because I'm seeing the fruits of my labor. And I, even as a kid, if I would do something, if my dad said, sweep the garage or cut these or pull these weeds, split this wood, stack this wood or whatever, when I would get done, I would stand there and look at it.
Right.
I would look at all that whole garage that I swept and how clean it is and how I didn't leave there's no broom marks in the floor, and how, I stacked that wood. It was a big pile over here. Now it's all nice and neat over here. So we like to, as men, we like to stand back and see the fruits of our labor. A project, maybe you just put it down. You just gave your wife the business and she's laying there like, and all that, you're standing there. We like to see the fruits of our labor. We like to see what we've been working so hard for. And once you do, it'll get a little bit easier.
That's a hilarious example, but very true. You gave them the business and they can't walk, and you're like, yeah. That's right. That's right.
I did that.
That's right.
I did that shit.
I feel the same way. I lift my weights. You lift your little weights. I lift my weights 4 times a week. And every time right before I start lifting weights, I have an excuse why I shouldn't do it today because I'm kind of busy and it's already 11:30 and I probably shouldn't lift weights. I could just do it tomorrow. And then I lift the weights. And then afterwards, I'm like, yeah, I did it. And it feels awesome. Then I go to take a shower, pull my shirt off. And as you know, when you lift weights, you get a pump. So all your muscles get a little more inflated with blood. And you just stand there in the mirror and you kind of flex. You're like, damn right. So, feel it, guys. Feel whatever negative, stupid emotion and do the right thing anyway. And the more you do that, Aristotle, the great philosopher, he said character is never heard. I ain't never heard of no Aristotle.
I don't believe it. Never heard of him.
Is he the one? Is he that fella that works down at the farm store?
He got the mall at the store, right? the apostle or something.
He said character is built through habit. So that means you fake it till you make it is what we say nowadays. Aristotle said fake it till you make it. That's what he said in ancient Greece. No, but character is built through habit. So that means the longer you do something, the more it's going to become part of your personality. And eventually you'll still hate running, but it'll be easier to do. It'll be easier to hate it and still do a good job. So I think that's a good show there. I think we've gone about 30-something minutes. We want to keep these a little bit tight so people can watch them while they're. I hope you're working out listening to this. I hope you got your AirPods in that you overpaid for, built by Chinese slave labor over there for the Apple Corporation.
With little tiny Chinese child hands.
Oh, how terrible to think about. We all pretend that we don't know that goes on, when we look at our electronic devices. It's not.
I don't even think about it.
Yeah, I just
imagine if we were born somewhere else. Imagine if we were born in the lower class of Chinese society or like in the caste system in India.
Oh boy,
something like that. And you're pulling a rickshaw through 6 inches of raw sewage every day. I mean, we hit the lottery, man. We really did. We hit the lottery. Our poor, the poorest of our poor, are kings in some other countries. Some of our poor people.
Fat poor people. Okay.
I've seen homeless people with laptops. I've seen people who are on welfare have a TV in every room wearing Gucci.
Right.
Our poor, and it's probably by choice. That's another thing. If you're poor in America, it's because you made bad choices. You don't have to be. Right. We have homeless people living on the streets that don't have to. They want to.
Right.
So you made it here, man. You don't got no excuses. Living in America is its own reparation.
Right. I think that's a great way to put a bow on this. The great abundance we have is brought to you by people who endorsed and believed in and enthusiastically practiced family culture led by strong fathers and great mothers. And that's what we want you to think about. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to get married, have a great wife, be a great leader, and then raise some amazing kids. Anything else before we go, Jericho?
No, man, I can't add anything to that. That's
all perfect. Right. Well, thank you for joining us on Daditude, and we'll be back with more next time. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.